learning is kind of the currency of your first deal and probably your first two or three, I would think, because you really need, in finance, we talk about, staff months, which is like how many human months does it take to do something. I think that I kind of think about that with real estate, especially in kind of a single family space, is like how many months do you have single family homes under your belt? How much experience do you have? Because that ends up really, really mattering in your third, fourth, fifth deal. And then you start to make a lot better decisions. So you want to work really hard, doing your due diligence, picking the right deal, the best deal you can, but also kind of understand like your first deal very likely will suck. And you need to kind of get it so you can learn. And then by deal, and then the next deal you crush it, you focus really hard and learn. And then you keep doing that. Eventually you get really good. And then you start to buy really excellent properties, and then things start to spin for you and start working.
Yeah, I mean, for ourselves, I'll speak for myself. I mean, I kind of suffered from that. I wanted to gather as much information before my first deal. I started in multifamily investing. I didn't invest really in any single family prior, right? And I was fortunate enough to find some great partners to work with. And, my mentality was I always wanted to gather as much information before taking that first step. But I think you bring up a great point. Yes, you want to be smart. You want to do your due diligence, but you also at some point need to take action. And that's really where a lot of the learning comes, because a lot of the scenarios that come up in our deals, that's not in, I didn't learn that in some coaching program, or I didn't read a blog post about it. That's something we learned sort of on the fly as we were kind of operating our various deals, right? So I think it's important to strike a balance between the two, gathering information and also taking action, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's a certain point where you're like, I think most people know, but they maybe don't admit it to themselves, where you're like, okay, now I'm past the point of being able to get any meaningful additional knowledge and information about this type of purchase. You just need to get, it's sort of like a quarterback, the quarterback sitting on the bench can learn in like the in kind of like the coach's room and the meetings and practice, but until the quarterback is actually playing, like then things happen a lot faster and things matter a lot more. And you can do some learning behind the scenes, but the real learning happens on the field. And so that's something that's, I think, really important to get. But it's also, it's a balance. If you're a quarterback that just like doesn't come to practice and you're just like, just put me in the game, coach, like that's not going to go well either. So you got to do both. But, you know, a quarterback's going to get much better, much faster from playing a lot than just like listening, reading, studying.
Right. The quarterback's got to get those reps in practice in order to be ready for the live game, correct?
Correct. But you gotta play.
Got
Otherwise
to
you're really gonna cap out how much growth you can have.